All right. I think everything's working. Got that, all that, cool. I need to go finish my soup real quick. Or at least have a little bit more. Got runestones and Team Island so far. Coast to mountain from Switzerland. So Switzerland going heavy on the kind of gimmicky maps. That worked out really well for them for against France. So USA on the other hand playing the more standard ones. Banning Golden Stream makes sense. Same with Switzerland banning Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga definitely one that you don't really want to play if you're running up against who is considered one of the best teams in the league. Well, we're going to Canyon Lake. Golden Lake, sorry. It's really good soup. I was running way behind this morning. Not wake up very early. Hi, sir. None of the soup's for you. There's still so much soup left. It was really good soup, though. The audio experience of this is fantastic. So waiting on the Civ draft for them. All right now. There's a Civ pool selection. It's Italian sausage and potato soup. Very good, gluten free. I'm guessing the USA is going to pick pool two, because I think everyone is picking pool two nowadays. But Switzerland, I think, got away with pool four, especially with they play Team Islands. If you're going to play Team Islands, I feel like pool four is one of the best because Chinese. The more we see the turtle ships, the more I'm like, maybe Koreans are just the best water civ. Without demos anymore. This is going to be such an interesting video for people to rewatch and be like, what the fuck is happening? Need some lunch, need some food. Oh, double pool two. All right. Already set up then. Perfect. So the first map's going to be Golden Lakes. Let me go. I'm pretty much done with this soup. Let me just go fucking chug it in the most disgusting way possible. Hmm. All right. Setting up the lobby now. I drank a little bit too much, but that was fun. That was Joey Chestnut would be proud. I just chugged a bowl of soup, pretty much on stream. My body temperature has risen by about 10 degrees, so I'm sweating a little bit. Gonna go fill up on water while we wait for the pool to start. But we'll go over the teams now. I do apologize. I'm running just a few minutes behind. The good news is that no one else is really in the chat, so I can just remove that portion from the VOD. No one will get to see me eat soup. Suppose I should probably put the proper headphones on so I can hear stuff. Yeah, I have like 5 pairs of headphones. These ones are wired for the PC and everything. But no, it's starting runestones. Anyways, let's talk about the teams. Here we go. So it's USA A, which is heavy hitters: True, Improvise, Favorite, Leash, Leaf, Mystical Soul. All old OGs of Deathmatch, all very solid players. A little rusty in some of them, but like Favorite has been crushing it, right? Like I think he was like top 3, top 2 for TDM, third. You know, getting really high placings in all the deathmatch stuff. So these are very, very solid players. Arguably one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Switzerland having a massive upset with France and playing really, really well with none of them having any Swiss experience or any DM experience besides daehiise, but daehiise's been coaching them. So we get to see how important coaching is to get skilled RMers into it. And apparently, according to Dave, bulletchen had no idea that he's signed up for this. Apparently, daehiise just signed him up without telling him. And so we probably won't be seeing bulletchen. But he is very good, right? So which is hilarious. Just signing up a player for that. I think we've done a few of those. There's a few of those in the bracket, but that's kind of the most notable one. So yeah, daehiise is no slouch either. Apparently, doing pretty well in the Carry Me or Die tournament, where they were on Team Ganji, or I don't really know how CMOD worked, but I know daehiise did pretty well in CMOD from what I hear. I am excited to be around for the next CMOD whenever that is. I know that's going to happen at some point, but we're not too sure. Not too sure when. Challenge. So, Swiss top cuts. Ooh, they finally implemented Swiss top cutting. Nice. So we look at the bracket right now. Spoiler warning, a little bit late, but USA having won two against Netherlands and France. Not too surprising there. If they can win against Switzerland, uh, that's easy and everything. And then it can get interesting. It turns out that France Netherlands might be the most important match. We still have a few more, but like Switzerland and Netherlands. But the key thing is, I mean, if Switzerland somehow wins, then you know it's super good. Well, one, that's insane for Switzerland, but two, then there's not a lot to discuss in this pool. But there is a chance that we get a three-way tie here, since France was has very much underperformed here comparatively to their seeding. So here's the team: daehiise, Feige, and Heidewolf. And it's going to be Golden Lakes. Both of them playing the same pools. Gonna blow my nose real quick. Sorry about that. Like I said, soup has definitely opened up the sinuses. Let's put it that way. But Improvise, leash, and favorite. So the interesting thing we've known, or that we've seen all the time, is leash is one of the most deadly raiders in the entire tournament. If the game gets to a mid-game point, every few minutes we're going to be seeing a squad of either like cav archers or camels or something very raidable in the back of your opponent's trade, and they're going to be controlled by leash. Leash will be the pocket pretty much every single time. And then favorite and improvise are on the flanks. So the USA has pretty much their main strategy there, and that they'll sub into true every once in a while. We want to go back to here. We haven't seen Leaf play, and Mystical Soul subs in as well sometimes. But I think favorite, leash, and improvise are kind of like the big three in USAA. True won't be playing today, I believe. He's still on a business trip. He scheduled all the games and then essentially disappeared and left his team to clean up his mess. So actually, now that I think about this, Twitch TV. Okay, they're doing their draft now. Is Viper POVing it? Shixo's playing. No Viper. Maybe he's spinning up his stream. We'll check back in later. But I'm hoping Viper does his stream POV. Oh, I forgot my meds. What day is today? Sunday. Jeez. My fiber pill. I don't eat enough food to be able to not have to. I mean, everyone's getting the full experience here today. Eating soup, taking my pills, all the fun stuff. There's a lot more deathmatch going on. I assume a lot of these are just like the fun, like not really knowing what's going on kind of matches. There's a lot of random lobbies, right? That's AI. But you have some practice maps, like you have freaking Chris, Tempo, and Goldeneye, Banana, Hamza, Feared. You also have Germany C having finished their match, playing some 4v4s against Team USA C, at least. Ranger was in C. Oh, and looks like they have started. We're seeing Slavs, double Slavs, and double Vietnamese right off the bats. So both teams want to get a strong start in their matchup. Using probably like a top 5 Civ in DM, arguably the best Civ in the pool for both players or both teams. But let's hop right in. We got 10 seconds. What is Leash on? Leash is on the sauce. Leash is on the pocket. Interesting. All right, we'll see what happens here. I will have to pause. I do like that. I think we have, actually, no, now we have only 2 games going on. We almost had like 3 different streams and casts going on at once. All right. Oh, that's not what I want. I want best of 5, DMNC, Pool E, USA, Switzerland, flag, Switzerland, United States of America. Can I change colors? I don't know. Oh, wait. Set team captain. Okay. Blue and pink. That's going to be, I think, the best combination. Cool. All right, folks. Welcome, one and all, to Group E, USA versus Switzerland. In the green, we have Improvise playing the pocket, playing the Vietnamese. His flank, Leash in the blue playing the Slavs. And, hold on a sec. We're going to get some echoes if I don't do this. Here we go. And on the other side, we have Favorite playing the Japanese. Already see a little bit of a raid, but good reactions from Leash, getting those walls up, getting the villagers protected, and does delay quite a bit of time. Might even pick a villager here, but on the other flank, Favorite is playing the Japanese up against the Slavs of daehiise, and daehiise has a little bit more of a slower start. Did lose a villager to the light cav of Favorite, so Favorite not finding a nice little snipe here with the support of Improvise. The pocket for daehiise is going to be Heidewolf with the Gujaras. His camels coming out very fast. And then in the orange is Feige playing the Vietnamese. We already see elephants coming forward, trying to run into the Slav base. But the Slav halberdiers are perfectly planned to deal with these elephants and with the siege. Elephants are not going to have a great time going into the Slav. We do see some camels coming in, trying to raid a little bit in the pocket. Improvise the Vietnamese pocket, going a little bit slower, but adding some cav archers, adding some elephants. And this is going to allow Heidewolf to reconsider and try to raid a little bit back here. Has found several kills, 4 eco kills for Heidewolf so far. Catching Favorite unprepared for the camels. But daehiese's losing a lot of vills as well. daehiise down to 9 vills. I mean, that's a problem with having the cav archers. Not getting a castle up, not getting enough units here. These cav archers are just sitting under the TC, preventing any raids from, or any buildings from going up. And just slowly being whittled away by a town center. Camels finally come in to try to clear this up, but it might be a little bit too little too late. We already see Favorite starting to mass up the forces, has a forward castle. It's going to be very tough for daehiise to recover from. Needs to get that castle up very quickly, but the camels are a little bit stuck in here. The cav archer's free to rain terror, but in the meantime, Feige doing amazing down there. The elephants causing problems for the Slavs on both sides. Or on this side, the elephants are too strong, and they are getting some kills too. We do see 5 villager kills for Feige, and looks like Leash is forced to kind of sit in the TC, not doing much right now, building up some siege into the workshops. And with the help of Improvise here, having some elephants of their own, having some cav archers, they can start maybe trying to push us back, but there's elephants still in the base. In the meantime, even though the trebs are out, daehiise is going to have some castles up, is going to be able to get some units forward, and the camels do come in on the flank and try to snipe the treb, maybe snipe some units. It is turning into a bit of a base trades on both sides. Neither team going for water yet. There is a sneak, the light cav staying alive at 2 HP in the back. Very smart from Improvise. And this one cav archer trying to destroy that castle. We do see very forward production from Feige, trying to really secure this place, really make sure the base of Leash gets taken out. And the castle of Improvise does go up, so we're going to be seeing a little bit of a castle war here. But the TC goes down, so Leash is forced to run back. Already has TCs in the back being rebuilt, knows that they have to abandon. And the question is going to be, is Daisy going to do the same? I mean, the correct answer is you should send a villager right away just to go and secure the space, and that Daisy is. That Lycav is very dangerous. That Lycav could snipe the villager of Daisy. Daisy's going to try to hang on here, have more villagers, but I think these villagers should all just run away, and they might just end up being a full-on base trade. Not really the split, the top to bottom split that you expect on this map, but we might be getting that kind of split as opposed to more of the kind of half and half split. So we got the Siege Onager trying to land a shot. Oh, going for the close cav archers instead of that one. There could still be, oh, that could have been a huge shot. But Daisy is going to get wiped out here, and honestly, actually, I mean, that castle goes down, so it looks like the focus of Feige was on denying that the Vietnamese castle of their opponent. But the rest of this base should get cleaned up, and Leash should get forced back. But, I mean, the problem is Leash has already done pretty well at trying to rebuild, has several TCs up, so the villager count can start skyrocketing. Not a lot of military from Heidewolf, actually. A couple elephant archers, but trying to make some more Imperial skirms. I know Otter loves that. But, yeah, losing the base here, and Heidewolf isn't going to really be able to defend against this. I mean, there's some good attacks over here, but Feige is starting to get pushed back now, not able to get enough damage in a 1v2. And in the meantime, like, the elephants and skirms aren't going to do great against, I mean, against Japanese cav archers, yeah, but once you start adding this halberdiers, you add in some samurai, it's going to be, and the Japanese trebs, and this is going to be very dangerous. I think Switzerland is going to get pushed back here. Yeah, they, like, the fact that Leash has been able to keep his base still up, even with all the damage, is a huge deal. Yeah, and now the Japanese are really pushing here. It is cav archers versus elephant archers, but there's a lot less cav archers. There's 38 elephants versus 52 cav archers, but the trebs are here, and they're going to be taking out these castles. I almost just want to see the trebs attack the elephants, which I think they're starting to do, yeah. They've been attacked, and now the trebs raining stones down onto these elephants. And just, you can just watch the explosions and death all over. And with the halberdiers and a couple samurai mixed in, those elephants are not long for this world. I mean, they're doing decently against the cav archers. Cav archer numbers are down. But the trebs the slow-moving elephants are just asking to be trebbed there. And those packs, they can get packed up and repositioned so quickly. And on the south side, the amazing start of the Vietnamese has been completely pushed back. Leash's base barely worse for wear. I mean, significantly worse for wear, but also still alive. Still has access to all of his resources and has a full army, was able to repop. Look at all these TCs scattered about. Leash doing a very good job of surviving in an initial rush. And unfortunately, Heidewolf and Daisy did not survive quite as easily. Or quite as well. And the Japanese trebs just so mobile. Able to just reposition and keep the push going. Cav Archer Micro is very nice there. Doesn't land the shots. And Switzerland calls the GG right away. Well done from USAA. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a base trade, but Heidewolf just wasn't able to really support either side where they really needed it, and unfortunately that means both flanks kind of collapsed, even though Feige had a really strong start and forced Leash back. Game 1 is going to go to USAA. Vietnamese, Slavs, and then Japanese Gujaras. Vietnamese, Slavs, Japanese Gujaras. So 2 top-tier civs for Switzerland. Gujarat's not really able to show anything there that they would have. And instead, it's 2 middle-tier civs for the USAA, and both of them using their best civ in the Slavs. The problem you could argue, though, is that, I mean, they did both burn an elephant civ, which can matter a lot. But definitely a favorable exchange, ignoring the fact that USA won, burning their Gajaras for the Japanese, right? So a little bit of a favorite when it comes to that. So looks like Otter is up. I'm just checking real quick. AoE. Okay, Viper's not POVing. That's fine. A little sad. But we're not talking about that match. We are looking at USA versus Switzerland, and it's still Golden Lake, so we're going to be seeing what Switzerland is going to pick next. My guess is it's going to be Team Islands. They showed that they were really strong in Team Islands. We had a crazy Team Islands game from between France and Switzerland. I think France took that one. They did. But if USA was watching, which I think they were, they might be prepared for daisy landing, which is what they did in France and caused a significant issue. The problem was they just didn't have a great follow through. They got the chip shot, but they didn't follow through with it. So that definitely can mean, like, hopefully they've had some time to think and discuss and figure out how to kind of really secure that. Maybe reviewed the match, rewatched my stream. Yeah, it's Team Islands. And the problem, I mean, they're not going pool 4, so it's a little bit different. I mean, Byzantine's going to be played by both teams. Italians probably, and maybe the Goths for some island spam. I mean, I know Goths have a decent navy. I don't think you play Persians, Jurchens. Oh, you can't play Jurchens. Oh, Koreans too. So I'm expecting Koreans, Byzantines, Italians. I think that's just going to be how it is. I think you use one of your 2 Byzantines in the water map. I think it's going to just be a mirror Italian, Korean, Byzantines here. You get the turtle ships. You could try to save the Koreans for a land map and try to bait your opponent into using their Koreans here. But at the very least, I think Switzerland is going to be using Koreans. It's going to be the same 3 from Team Switzerland. Switzerland, of course, we don't see bulletchen. We've seen Niroxs once. I don't know if we've seen RiffRaff, but Niroxs definitely had the least clean open out of anyone. Oh, that's the wrong. We're here. Niroxs definitely had the least clean open, but it also looked like if they get, it's a classic, you get the open kind of squared away, and you're going to be fine. Because it looked fine if they got out of the open. But, so, daehiise, Heidewolf, and Feige. Looks like it might be hotkey fixing. I know we had to deal with that in our match. Especially with the water changes. If you haven't really done all the water, played much on water, there's some weird mappings. So, I know I had to, because it's like, I think like trade cogs and galleys were now on the same hotkey for me, which is wild. And definitely made me I did lose the important like 2 or 3 seconds to that because I queued up a bunch of trade cogs and then had to figure out what my pause button was. And so I lost a good 5 or 6 seconds. Looks like Team Germany they're starting on Kawasan. Viper, Turs, and Zayu. What does this star mean? Is that just VIP? Supporter, makes sense. And then Team India. Good luck, India. It's gonna look dicey. But looks like they're underway. We got the games going on at the same time. I don't want to check to see what game number they're on. Okay, so they haven't even. This is their first game, so they got a little bit slower of a start. Looks like probably waiting for Viper to show up. But DMNC Team Islands will be the map if I know how to play or deal with Age of Empires. Koreans, Goths, Byzantine mirror match. Are Goths just better on water than I give them credit? They very well might be. So they get the extra pop space, which is a big deal. And then you could always do a landing, which both teams would probably be down to do landings. They don't get any other bonuses, but I think their navy is full. Yeah, they have a full navy. And they get bracer. They don't get cannon galleons though. They get dromons, which like you could argue sometimes dromons might be better in Team Islands, just because the splash damage is huge against ships. And then if you get a landing, it is terrifying. So. But yeah, we got the Korean Goth Byzantine Pool 2 Classic water map matchup. I think this is probably going to be the trio of civs whenever there's a Team Islands match for a Pool 2 team. Unless it's a later pool and they're hoping to get away with using Koreans before that. So, but we're going to get a witness who can win from the better civs without having to worry about any different civs. This is how classic Deathmatch was. Mirrors everywhere. Alrighty, welcome to Team Island Switzerland. A little bit struggling at the start, being down 0-1 against USAA. We have daehiise with the Goths going for a landing for sure, likely. And then Heidewolf with the Byzantines going for fires, and Feige with the Koreans on the flank, probably for turtle ships. On the other side, Favorite as a Goths doing some back docks, or side back docks. We see Improvise with the Koreans going for back docks as well, and Leash playing the Byzantines also going for back docks. Okay, I mean it is closer, so a little less walking time, so you get the docks up faster. The docks in the back for the Koreans. I have my mods on. I apologize. I just realized I also have small trees on. I forgot to turn off my playing mods. But here come the turtle ships. One of the most broken units in the game, especially in DM. You could argue in RM it is too hard to get all the way up to where they need to be and get them in numbers where it matters. We got the point castle, which is very important. And they're going to be going up against galleons. Needs to make sure not to just... I mean, we get a fast fire being mixed in. I don't know why you're mixing in some fast fires. You should just be going straight turtles. But we do have a landing already. Not aware of this. So this landing is going to be very dangerous. We see already barracks up. And the Goth spam should begin shortly. In the meantime, no action on this other side, but the forces of Leash are starting to mass up. We have galleons for the Byzantines and Romans and some fast fires. I guess you got to go a little bit more of a hybrid army. And looks like the turtles are going to be 2v1 here, but no, the turtles are going to go and try to counter in the middle. But by the time they get there, the Goth spam has already started. There are Goths in the base. Everybody better watch out. Wisely not going too far forward, and they're going to start causing some problems. daehiise with the landing. Turtles fighting over here. Turtles from Improvise not engaging in this fight. A little bit distracted, losing villagers at home. And the turtles push the armies back. And they're already kind of stuck from being able to get into the middle. I mean, there's a couple turtles in the middle without a lot from daehiise here to help deal with this. So they're going to lose a little bit of here. Need to get some reaction from the teammates. They're going to lose all their forces. But, I mean, the Goth spam is just so deadly. It's so dangerous. Sending rams forward, not even bothering with bombard cannons. Already see some defensive castles going up to try to get some cataphracts on the field. Get some units where they need to. But I think, I mean, yeah, the drones are hitting here. I think Heidewolf needs to go and help clean this up. And just make sure that daehiise doesn't get harassed for their push. In the meantime, the big fight down here, the turtles versus turtles, and I mean, this is a 2v1, so I think the turtles of Feige are going to lose this slowly but surely. I mean, it's going to be dangerous with this castle here, with the villagers repairing, though, is help, and a second castle will come in and be helpful as well. But there's just not enough here from Feige to win this fight. I think against turtles versus turtles, you just add in some extra galleons and you're just going to get outnumbered here. You need to see daehiise with some units here, maybe some... I don't know why... Oh, did daehiise build castles units back home. Sending the resources. Alright, here they go, cleaning this up. That's going to be nice. And we see a massive gas spam counterattack from Favorite on the land. And that's going to clear this up pretty well. I think the damage has been done. And assuming this gets cleaned up, I mean, there's some clumping here. And the turtles aren't firing too much. There's a massive clump here. I mean, there's no candy galleons or anything. But this could be very dangerous if there's a candy galleon or a Droman. Daisy needs to start adding, once Daisy cleans up this last turtle, Daisy needs to go and assist on the south side, but on the north side, we do have Heidewolf pushing in. The Droman's doing so much work here. In this kind of clustered area, the Droman's going to just be nuking things. We can just watch the HP just dwindle. Droman Micro showing how important it is. And it's tough to fight into this choke when your opponent also has this, but the turtles of Improvise have kind of won here. Daisy is trying to fight the land units with the water units. That is not where she needs to be. She needs to give up on the landing and go and deal with these turtles. And yeah, there's a ping from Feige asking for some support, letting her know that the turtles are coming her way, and she is going to have to deal with this. The galleons are here. They're going to engage here, and that does allow the turtles of Feige to have a moment of respite and try to start pressuring into the point of the USA's island. Looks like the galleons have been cleaned up from Heidewolf, and he's going to back off the Dromans, keep the Dromans alive. But Leash does survive the aggression. And do we see demos? No, those are just fast fires. So Turtle's just cleaning Daisy's ships up. Goths might have a full navy, but against the Turtles, they can't do much. We need to see Daisy and Feige working more together. They need to come and clean these turtles up. You can't just leave these turtles roaming the middle of the sea. The Dromans over here are going to be able to help engage on this, but I don't really think they have a plan. They're planning on dealing with these turtles. And these turtles have just 63 kills and have free reign to do what they want. But that has allowed the turtles of Feige to push in on this side. There's still some turtles back here with the Droman support and some galleons from Favorite. And the castle does stay up. But this is a lot of turtles, and I think they could easily one-shot this not one-shot the castle, but take it down. And there is an elite cannon galleon, so the cannon galleon getting the extra range. How do Koreans get cannon galleons? I guess they do. Okay. You need that extra range. And they're going to keep pushing in here. A lot of turtles not being used, though. Need to be a little bit better about microing them. And now we see a big fight over here with the turtles from Improvise coming over here to try to help out on this fight. And Heidewolf loses a lot of military here, and this side has completely collapsed. Daisy being a little bit too slow on going back onto water. The landing has been cleaned up. And while the turtles over here are doing well, taking out that castle and pushing onto the side. Unfortunately, the other side is being won by Team USA. And the Navy control from Heidewolf, they're just running right into the turtles. They need to run back under the castle and clump up so you have a force. But this side has been completely taken over. Yeah. And there's been a landing as well we've missed. The infantry and the units from the Goth spam defense have been transported over, and now Switzerland is losing units left and right. Leash getting those eco kills. We've seen Leash get up to 300 to 400 eco kills before. And this time uncontested at home. Daisy has no more units back at home. Having been all transported over. And the Cataphracts just running rampant, destroying everything. That is the danger if you lose control of water, is transport can be cheeky. And this push is starting to make a little bit of progress, but it's a little too slow, a little too little. And while there's plenty of resources for Feige, unfortunately, I think it's going to be an issue with Feige not going to be able to sustain this push without more units in the back, and also with the landings and the problems they have at home. There's one Cataphract left. Most Cataphracts have been cleaned up, but that dealt so much damage that this entire north side of the island for Switzerland has just been lost. And the landing, as sweet as it was, the crackback from the other from USAA has just been so deadly. And daehiise didn't get back onto water fast enough. The turtles just were able to do enough in the middle just to harass him much. And Heidewolf just couldn't make the push, couldn't continue the push, step back, and allowed Leash to mass back up and just completely decimate him. Turtles slowly getting whittled away. And even though there's some cannon galleons in support with the clumped up turtles, there's enough here with the close by docks that Heidewolf is going to get pushed back. And now it's a question, can they reclaim their water? They have these back docks, they're getting some more fast fire ships for the Byzantines. But they're trying to engage a little bit by themselves. And the turtles trying to win the fight over here. Turtles spreading out so they're not just in a single clump to get one shot by the cannon galleons. Cannon galleons could like one shot this cat if they're not careful. I mean, at this point, I think you just one-shot the castle, right? Yeah. It's just a lot of stone you just lose for free. And we have heavy demos. Heavy demos from Favorite. We've said how bad the heavy demos are, but maybe people just haven't been giving them enough credit. Team USAA seems to believe in them. There's some demos from Switzerland. I think the secret is that demos are bad for your main strategy, but if you're on the back foot and you have less numbers, adding demos like this can be a huge deal, right? We're going to watch these come in, and those turtles just melt to the demos. Hold up. Switzerland has cleaned up this middle. The rumors of demo ship demise have been greatly exaggerated. We're seeing from Switzerland and USA, the demos are still alive and well. They just aren't going to be your go-to strategy anymore. It used to just be non-stop demo spam all day, every day for water. But now I think it is you have to use them when you are either behind or when you're trying to get a good engagement. You sneak them in and you force the turtles back and you land one or two, and that deals so much damage and it gives you such a huge advantage. Here's another demo. Yeah, you just kind of have to be forced to run back. It lands, and even if it doesn't do much, you gain ground every time you use the demos. I think demos, you are going to, like, you have to kind of review how you're going to be using demos from now. We see massive, massive Byzantine fireship wars. I don't know where the fireships of Heidewolf are going. A little bit worse unit control for the Heidewolf. This is why Leash is going to win this fight pretty handedly with the drone support, with the castle support. The unit's control of Heidewolf just isn't really there. This is what makes USAA so scary. It is a mirror match in the sense of they both picked the same civs for the same pool. So they both picked pool 2, and then because it's Team Islands, there's like, these are the 3 best options, right? Because you can't use Jurchens on Team Islands. So like, yeah, they just happen to pick the same civs, but it's kind of not surprising the slightest. The only other option would have been to play Italians, and Italians are also pretty bad. So, like, if you're going to see Pool 2 Team Islands, chances are you're seeing these 3 civs. Because turtle ships are just so broken. But they can't win against 2v1s. And all these demos coming in, landing on all of these galleons, flanking all the turtle ships, and you're just going to see the turtle ships just melt over here. And that just gives you such a huge advantage in this fight. And USAA is winning this side, finally having cracked back. Yeah, adding in the demos has just been such a boon for USAA. I think that this game alone has shown that demos, because like everyone it was like demos are useless. No one's playing demos anymore because the old deathmatch strategy was just non-stop demos until you get water control. And then you build a unit, but you also are just kind of reliant on full demo spam. But now no one uses demos. However, we've seen here that you mix in a handful of demos in these fights, and they can just swing it so well. Especially if you're behind and you're like they are up on your dock. You instead of sending like 5 or 6 ships out at a time, granted you should be queuing them up in the docks themselves. You just send out some demos, and if they can land, they can just take out a third of your opponent's forces pretty quickly. So Demos kind of showing just how good they are. And now the massive demo, the drone and spam from Favorite mixed in with the turtles of Improvise is going to cause Feige a lot of problems. daehiise not really able to support over here, having to win against the 2v1 against Leash. And this is going to allow a continuous push over here. Maybe we'll see another landing once they claim this peninsula. But this is very tough for Feige to deal with by themselves. They need daehiise's support or something. daehiise just doesn't have a lot on water that's doing much. They have these units here. The turtles are going to come over here and try to engage this. And the Carracks coming out. Carracks are not the answer against turtle ships. We have seen time and time again. You kind of need galleys. You kind of need demos. You need some turtle ships of your own. It's just very hard to deal with these turtle ships. Carracks just get melted too much by the turtle ships, we found. So, you need numbers, you need everything. Turtle ships are just so hard to deal with, and just a small squad of turtle ships has completely cut off reinforcements from daehiise. And now daehiise starting to push back on Feige's side, and Feige taking a lot of damage, losing a lot of docks. It has to rebuild some more docks in the backside. It has one monk with the relic. At some point that'll be placed away. But now he's going to start losing production, losing some houses, some castles, losing the peninsula. We could see a landing. I doubt we'll see a landing. There's some trade cogs already up. There's no transport ships. Where is... I mean, daehiese's sending in some Carracks. I think Switzerland just doesn't really know what to do in this situation. You even see continually add demo ships. I think USAA, if I remember correctly, they were the ones who identified the Jurchen's bug because they did run into a situation where they used demos against Jurchens. So USAA has been planning, has, I think, put the most effort of any of the top teams into planning for Team Islands, and has their strategies kind of set where they know that they need to add demo ships. So, I don't know if we've seen many demo ships from the other players, but mostly from Favorite. I don't know if Koreans get the best demos. They get incendiaries, they don't get heavy demos. Byzantines, I don't think get heavy demos either. Oh, they do get heavy demos. So they could add some demos here, but I think with fast fire ships, you don't really need them. But Goths adding in the heavy demos with the galleons and the Dromans is quite the dangerous. Here come the, and you just hide them in your units. And look, that just took out 3 turtles pretty much by themselves. And you're just forced back, and that just means that you have to micro away from the demos. And that just means that the forces just get a little bit of extra time to fire. So Feige trying desperately to hang on here, but these turtles are going to probably push back. Yeah, the Droman micro is enough. Turtles here with the galleons. Feige just doesn't have enough here comparatively. You can look at the combined HP, it is almost double. There's just not enough from Feige solo having to fight this. I think daehiise adding some back docks with these back docks, sending in some more units to help support here would have been huge. Adding in some demos of her own. I mean, yeah, daehiese's going for Carracks. And like, Carracks are pretty good against demos. Like, they only lost 300 HP from that, which is quite a bit, but you know. Yeah, daehiese's just gonna leave her units here and try to deal with this. But I mean, yeah, that is the other problem. Is like, if you cut off the demo reinforcements, you just lose that. Improvise, very good player. I don't know if he's much of a nub. He's kind of winning this game. Those turtles have been deadly. He had a small squad of turtles that just completely took out daehiise during the mid game. And yeah, just over here, Leash taking off, pretty much 1v2ing this entire time. But I mean, Improvise has been adding turtles to both sides. These turtles are just the difference maker. It just shows how important these units are, and you can't really like. Feige has been able to 1v2 for a while and try to hold on, but it's just been not enough. I think you need turtles with a few other things to really just highlight just how good they are. And now this Droman range, just, there's so many Dromans here, they're gonna just melt these turtles. Decent micro, but it's so hard to micro in water with the turtles because they're so slow. This castle is staying up. There's a lot of repairs coming in. Byzantines do... Oh, no, that's Koreans. They don't get the... No, but... Not the worst engagement. Cleaning up all these Dromans. That is a lot of Dromans down. All the Dromans are dead. Very good fight from Feige. It does cost quite a lot of turtle HP. But the Dromans going away means that you can kind of have a little bit cleaner micro. You can take these engagements. In these choke points, it is so dangerous to fight against Dromans because the splash damage can just melt your entire army. But on this north side, now the turtles are teaming up with Leash. Leash, who has been winning the Byzantine battle, is just... It's so deadly. These castles going down. The north side of the island will be cleaned up. The trade is going to be pressured. And this is when we need to see some more demos coming in. We need to see the demos try to balance it out and wipe the slate clean. But it's not happening. We have Dromans from daehiise trying to be added. daehiise just hasn't really been able. The military count for Switzerland is down to 44, 45. They're trying desperately. And now the Goth spam, the landing happened. I missed it entirely, but the Goth spam of Favorite is here. And unfortunately, there's not going to be enough resources and time and attention from Team Switzerland to be able to push this back like USA was able to push back from daehiise. And Favorite, of course, also so good at just being the one making this Goth spam. See all these buildings. This is way more buildings than daehiise had. It's just, unfortunately, this is a little bit of the skill gap situation. You see just how good Improvise is at, or Favorite is at just making sure that this push does damage. Granted, there's a lot more here to do damage. We do see the Paladins out, but Switzerland is forced to tap out, having lost both sides of water, and USAA wins Switzerland's first home map with a fantastic showing. An amazing defense from the early landing, probably knowing that daehiise was going to be doing a landing, but not quite as much. The early back docks, and just surviving the pushes on both sides, and letting Leash breathe just barely was a mistake, I think. I think Heidewolf could have pushed the issue a little bit more, and daehiise could have gotten water a little bit faster after the after the landing failed. But just, I mean, I think the highlight is just how important demos were to winning this. Favorite adding in demos with Galleons and some Dromans pretty much was able to not 1v1 the turtles, but he added in a few turtles from Improvise. And Improvise, I doubt, was even microing them. Improvise probably was focusing on some other stuff. And it just was so deadly. The demos were just... And even when Switzerland had demos, you could just see how much it affects the islands. I think demos are a very important thing that teams need to consider. Because it's just such a huge deal when it's these massive, massive armies. You just can't micro down when there's 10 demos chasing after you when you're already in a fight. And that just is like, it's why Banelings are so good in StarCraft, you know? Treat them like Banelings. Treat them like, you mix them in with your army, and it's just going to just absolutely give you favors in the big fights. So well done from Team USAA, showing their preparation, showing how prepared they were for this, for Team Islands. And, yeah. Going up 2-0. I do want to add a scoreboard here at some point. That is something on my list. But for now, intermission logo. Why am I getting pinged? I haven't been paying attention to Discord. Did we 208? Okay, it looks like they got a response. I'm really hoping. Anyways, all right, we got Coast to Mountain next, which is Switzerland's other home map. All right, looks like everything is good. I assume, right? Yeah, okay, they're in it. I will have to apologize to Agent that I didn't respond to his message, but I was streaming. And theoretically, I'm not the one who's supposed to be taking care of this. We're a sniper and turfucks. Please. I've been answering all the questions. At least I assume I have been. Maybe they've been answering a lot more. I'm guessing a lot of the top DM players go straight to sniper and turfucks, and a lot of the newer DM players see my name pop up a lot in the scheduling chat and are like, oh, Mojito's the one we have to talk to. I'm also, you know, chronically addicted and chronically online, so. But we are going to Coast to Mountain. So Coast to Mountain is an interesting one. That is where Switzerland beat France pretty handedly with a death ball, ignoring water entirely. So again, if USAA, I think USAA watched that set, so they should know a little bit of the plans of Switzerland. That is one of the problems of scouting your opponents and deathmatch fans being such fans of deathmatch that they are going to consume a lot of the deathmatch content. Whereas a lot of the times at the top level, maybe they're not scouting quite as much. I don't know. I haven't heard much about the top players like Hera, like how much they actually devote to scouting, or if they have other people scout for them and stuff like that. Um, but I also dislike how all the images are like cropped in that way. And they are 3x4, but um so I think it's going to be there's no yeah, Switzerland played a different pool. So it's probably gonna be like I could see some slower death volley push like Teutons, Persians for sure. Probably gonna see Persians for by both teams. Even Jurchens. Maybe you mix in the weaker civ like Japanese or probably not mYsTikaL. That's still wrong. I need to fix that. I will fix the musica. Um, but looks like there's no swaps yet, so it is going to be the same kind of squad. Makes sense. I mean, India looks like they've gotten to mid game against Germany A. That is pretty impressive. I love. I was unsure of how India was gonna do, but I want to see India do well. There's a lot of the teams that are like people are like, oh, we don't really know any of those DM players, like according to Otter and stuff. But I'm rooting for all of them because I want more like even if they're not gonna be able to take on Frost, right? Like it's not about beating Frost. It's about hey, I want a lot more like tier 2 countries that are able to make a really interesting silver bracket, right? Like we know who the top teams are probably going to be in the playoffs. It's going to be, I mean, maybe Canada, but like you know you have Germany A, you have all of them. But like teams like Switzerland and Iceland, or not to Iceland, India, um, these are these teams that I think people were counting out and not really expecting much from, and they're showing up and being like, hey, give another year or two, give some more practice, maybe get some more involvement from other players in that region, and they could be a force to be reckoned with in a potential next DMNC 2.0, right? So it's awesome to see these like lesser known DM countries steal some of their RM skill players and be like, hi, this is how you play DM. You're a DM player now. Congratulations. So, it's exciting to see. But we have Coast Mountain. Before we look at the Civ, okay, I have done that. Actually, before we do this, it might be too late, and I don't know if it'll take. Um, but that should take away some of the ugliness and make a little bit better of a viewing perspective. But let's get underway with Coast to Mountain. Teutons, Persians, Italians, Teutons, Persians, Japanese. This is the downside of the similar of oh. Okay, looks like it's a recreate. I think it's a recreate. And they're like Sniper's playing. Of course he is. Check your texts. I have strong opinions about how much you dedicate as an admin to playing in a tournament. Um, but that's a different story. While we wait for this to recreate, um, in Smash, I think I've told this story again, but like my Smash elo is horrible because there's so many tournaments that I've helped run where I enter hoping to play, but I have to admin, so I drop, and so I just have like all these DQs in my history of gaming, um, and it which I'm fine with, right? Like I'm adminning, not playing, but unfortunately I'm forced to play in this tournament. Uh, they needed an extra player for NASA, and I didn't realize that we would have 2 players on complete opposite ends of a schedule, so I'm forced to play all of them, so I actually do need to put some practice reps in. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about Switzerland versus USA. We did see the civs for a second there. It's going to be pretty similar civs. I think it was Persians, Teutons for both teams, and then it was Italians and Japanese. I forget who had which one. But I mean, you're gonna see Persians on Coast Mountain. I think you have so much time to get going with the War Elephants. You'll have the chonker wall. Tunes make sense as well. A slower civ that needs, like, we almost saw Goths beat them because it's so hard to get started with tunes without, they don't have treadmill crane, right? The most important research in all of DM that no one cares about in RM. So yeah, they don't have treadmill crane, so they have time to get their start going. You can't really raid them. You could try to be tricky and add like the Jurchens or something. I mean, they're not going to, but like that is one way to try to get a raid in with some step lancers from one of those step civs. But we're not going to be seeing that out of this. Germany, yeah, won't spoil too much there. I think we all know how that's going to go. But I mean, India looked like they had a game. Compared to like when NASA played, like we just got wiped pretty fucking quick. So, looks like they are playing on Outcrop next. And we're just waiting for Leash. Make sure I'm not getting pinged about anything. But yeah, I do hope that like Daisy's coaching is paying off. You're seeing that Switzerland is solid. Like whether or not they can make it into playoffs is a different story. Like it's going to be interesting to see if France can claw. Like Swiss might has a path to the playoffs, right? If they beat Netherlands, they just make it to the playoffs. Like I think that's full stop. Yeah, because Switzerland beats Netherlands, they have 2 wins, and both these teams have 2. So like they could be with all the top dogs. If they don't, they are one of the favorites to win silver bracket, right? If they lose to Netherlands and that's a 3-way tie based on tiebreakers, that is one thing that France has here. That's a huge deal. France does have a game against USAA, so that is going to help with the points. And then a 3-2 loss here. Like losing 3-2 is really important in the third tiebreaks, right? Because it's head to head, but if there's 3-way tie, it does come down to like points and stuff. So that is something to keep in mind here. If Switzerland can steal a game here, this is going to be huge for them. But let's get underway. Hopefully this one works. We have Improvise in the pocket. I mean, I guess pocket doesn't really matter as much on this one. The one that's going to matter is going to be the water civ. And that's why we see the Italians being picked instead of the Japanese for Team USAA, is because the Italians aren't great, but they have pretty solid water tech tree. I don't think any of their water bonuses are relevant for DM as much as it is in RM. Because they get cheaper gunpowder units and cheaper fishing ships, which is nice. Genoese crossbowmen, especially if you know your opponent is going elephants, which in this case they do, is a huge deal, right? So like Genoese crossbowmen, they did the tier list last night. Otter and Keller did, and I think Italians were even underrated in that because in a team game, Italians are a lot better in the sense of Genoese crossbowmen are so good to add to a composition. On their own, they're trash. But you add Genoese crossbowmen behind some elephants, and it is terrifying. You add Genoese crossbowmen, like, Genoese crossbowmen are one of the best multipliers in DM, in my mind. Like, on their own, Italians suck. I don't think there's any getting away from that. But in team games, you don't have to worry about having these massive, massive flaws. So, let's see how they are in action. All right, welcome to Game 3. Switzerland trying to win a game here and help out with their tiebreaks. USAA trying to get a nice 3-0 for better seeding potential. And we have a favorite playing the Teutons on the flank. The pocket is Improvise with the Persians. And the water player is going to be Leash with the Italians, immediately sending villagers down to dock. The counter is going to be
Feige with the Japanese not immediately going for water. Heidewolf with the Persians as a pocket, obviously, and daehiise with the Teutons on the other flank as well. So I'm expecting no water play at all from Feige. Feige not even sending the scout to the water. You see USA has planned this as well, sending their hussars down to the docks area to try to deny villager docks. This light cav isn't really going to be able to find much. Might get a kill here. No. Instant reaction. One condo is out, and that's going to clean that up pretty quickly. Yeah, you want to send in this game. You want to send the scouts down to try to deny the docks. But, I mean, USA isn't going to really care too much, or Switzerland isn't going to care about the water. I think they're going full land like they did against France. And at least they know where the Goths are, or the Italians are. And they know where, I believe, the Persians are, so they can kind of pick where they want to attack. Cav Archer's going to go down here and try to pick off some condos. And we'll see how much of an investment into water Leash makes. Leash probably needs to realize that... Leash does need to realize that there's no water investment coming. These Cav Archers should tip them off that, hey, they're just going full land. I believe they watched. Like I said, they should have watched. Markets try to go up. This is... I do not think you ever want to risk these corner markets when your opponent has full water control. We also would love to see fishing ships come out right away. These Japanese Cav Archers are going to cause some problems, and the elephants are already out here for Improvise, but they can easily be microed away. Feige does have that skill to be able to micro away some Japanese or some Persian halibs as well. And we see some early... I don't even know what we saw there. Some teal, some condo. It was just condo rush. No, or let's go look at the villager kills. Did they snipe any? Okay, a couple snipes from Leash. Leash very deadly here. And units coming forward. I also would love to see if you're doing a kind of all-in land rush, sending villagers forward to make production buildings in this giant open no man's land would be huge for reinforcements purposes. Making a castle here is very aggressive here. There's a paladin here. There's some hussars. There's going to be cannon galleons, I assume. Yeah, there's lead cannon galleons. They'll notice that and go and deal with that. In the meantime, we do have some condos continuing to run into the base. Leash just trying to get a few kills here and there. Favorite has managed to pick off 6 villagers. I mean, that looks like it was probably trying some forward villagers for daehiise. But that is a very nice find early on. And the Japanese push in the middle is starting to come. And here comes the fishing ship. So immediately recognizing that water isn't being contested. So they can just immediately start flushing out all the fishing ships. Taking all these oysters so that you don't even have to worry about setting up an eco at home that much. You can't raid it. So here come the Genoese crossbowmen, mixing them in to deal with the Cav Archers, to deal with the elephants. Those are going to be such a huge game changer here. We even have a couple of monks out. It's bombard cannons as well. And yeah, not having to focus on water means that the Italians can kind of worry about microing. You can get the really good skill, but this is all Cav Archers, and now come the elephants from Heidewolf being mixed in with Japanese Cav Archers supporting. But these Genoese crossbowmen are going to be doing so much damage. The elephants drawing the focus of the Cav Archers, and the Genoese crossbowmen just wiping the field of these Cav Archers. And there's not enough units here. And it looks like here comes the massive conjoined death ball. The Teutons are here with the ETKs and the siege, but there's not a lot of ETKs. There is a good amount of siege, and you add some siege. I mean, there's a lot of bombard cannons from Leash. Leash can snipe a lot of the siege. And here comes the siege snipes. Some good attacks here. Halberdiers are coming in here. The slower Teutons need to get some... Oh, this is going to be dangerous. That's a lot of bomber cannons being landed. The Cav Archers need to go and snipe them. You kind of need to deny, like, sacrifice Cav Archers in order to snipe the bomber cannons so the siege can survive. And here comes this massive push. On the other counter side, though, Favorite is pushing into daehiise. There's a 2v3 in the middle. But if their push does not bear any fruit, this push on this left side is going to be deadly. We even see some paladins rushing in and sniping some villagers, trying to set up the corner trade, setting up some markets. They're going to be so annoying, even sniping a villager from Heidewolf here who went to go set up the trade. We'll see if he even notices that. The siege for the Teutons has kind of been sniped by these elephants. Unfortunately, Genoese crossbowmen are much better at sniping these elephants from getting into their back lines, and the elephants of Improvise are able to just kind of walk back there and take out the SOs. So the Trebs from the Japanese, of course, very fast, very useful. And there's plenty of elephants, and Leash has the micro to be able to try to convert some of these elephants, which will be a huge deal. ETK is trying to get into the fight, but the wall of Cav Archers is kind of stopping them. And this push is just so massive. Not enough trebs. I mean, there's so many SOs here that you could probably just one-shot castles, if not entirely, like, close. Not a lot here from daehiise to try to deal with this. daehiise is going to struggle so much to deal with this attack, and now has completely diverted their focus, sending some bomber cannons forward, but it's turning into a 2v2 in the middle. And once again, these Genoese crossbowmen are just a little bit better in this composition fight. We do see the halberdiers trying to do this, so the Genoese crossbowmen won't be able to be as good against the Japanese halberdiers as the cav archers would be in the counter. And these Japanese trebs need to be used. Bomber cannons are trying to deal with some of these cav archers, and the elephants, once they get onto the cav archers, then it just means that the Genoese crossbowmen are free to rain fires down. And this push is not looking like it's having a lot of momentum, especially with the push from Favorite on this north side. Just wiping out so much and going to pretty much counter both trades. We see the corner castle. We're going to see some condos probably come out. Trebs is here for the Japanese to try to deal with this. And the cannon galleons and the water units not here trying to deny some of these resources. And these... Interesting to see what Feige's plan is to try to reclaim this corner and secure the trade. But the problem is even if he secures this corner, the problem is this push on this side is so deadly. I mean, he could get a little... This could be a little bit of an overextend, but I mean, Favorite hasn't really lost much units here. 58 kills in these units means that he hasn't really invested into this that much, and the push in the middle actually has completely stalled. So Switzerland is now on the back foot, and this is where the extra eco from the water, I mean, there's not a lot of water eco. There should be more water eco. But USA not really losing any ground here means that Switzerland is going to be running out of steam very quickly. They're going to be pressured on both ends. This incursion has been cleaned up, and I honestly even think that Lee should just stop trying to invest here and just bring in the cannon galleons. I'm surprised he doesn't have the cannon galleons. He may have deleted the cannon. No, here come the cannon galleons. He made more. Just arrange some of these areas. But, like, you deny your opponent some trade, and you should just focus entirely on this middle push. The massive chonker wall. Heidewolf doesn't have enough chonkers here. Only 7 military for Heidewolf. We can take a look at the eco. Yeah, Heidewolf has so much wood. Needs to sell the wood and buy some food. 1,500 food for daehiise probably should be sent to the Persians. This is the problem. If the Persians, if you lose a lot of elephants very fast, it is so hard to stay alive. And I mean, with a massive fish boom and everything and all the farms going up right away for Improvise, Improvise knows how to do a Persian push, and these elephants have just been able to completely overwhelm the Switzerland team. Eco is starting to fall. The military count is horrendous for Switzerland, and the push on the top side has been cleaned up pretty decently. I mean, I think it's cost a lot of resources and a lot of units here, but this push has been cleaned up. Paladins coming in to try to snipe some of these bombard cannons, but the push in the middle is deadly, and Switzerland taps out, and that is a quick 3-0, much to the joy of France. Switzerland is unable to take a game from USA. So it all comes down to the most important match next is going to be Netherlands versus Switzerland. So that does mean that USA has secured their spot in the playoffs. So if we go here, we can take a look here. We got USA versus Switzerland. That was a 3-0. USA confirmed for playoffs. Switzerland needs to beat Netherlands. If Switzerland beats Netherlands, they are in the playoffs. If Netherlands beats Switzerland, we have France versus Netherlands up soon. And if France needs to beat Netherlands, if Netherlands beats Switzerland and France, Netherlands is in the playoff. If Netherlands beats Switzerland and France beats Netherlands, we'll have a three-way tie. And that's where the tiebreaker comes in. And you can see how points can be very important there. And that's where, you know, France has 3 games that they've gotten from losing, where Switzerland hasn't won any games when they've lost. Granted, they've only lost once. So Netherlands is going to play the role of the spoiler. I don't know if Netherlands will be able to win. Since, I mean, they didn't get a game off USA. But if they beat, I mean, Netherlands still can make it into the playoffs, we said. But if it's if they lose to France, and they take 2 games off of Netherlands or off of Switzerland, it can be very helpful. Yeah, the France Switzerland 3-2 is a huge deal for France in the tiebreaks, assuming it gets to a 3-way tie. Switzerland, like, it's definitely Switzerland's game to lose, or it's Switzerland's pool to or seed to lose at this point. France doesn't control their own destiny. Switzerland and Netherlands both control their own destiny. So, yeah. It's going to be an interesting finish to that. We have what is the schedule look like for them? Oh, there's so much DM today. That's going okay. Luckily, I don't think there's anything else scheduled. I have to double check and make sure that there's no other games scheduled for today. But the next one is Netherlands France tomorrow, and that's going to be on Otter Stream. So that's going to be a big one because if France wins, if Netherlands wins, France is out. If France wins, and remember this is a grudge match. Zhao and Enrico are some grudgy boys. If France wins, then it comes. I mean, regardless, it's going to come down to Switzerland, Netherlands. But if France beats Netherlands, then it becomes a very interesting thing. So, I think the other thing is that if France wins, France needs to be like, all right, training sessions every day with Netherlands, get them pumped up, get them ready to beat Switzerland. Do everything you can to get Netherlands to beat Switzerland so it becomes a 3-way tie. That is France's hope and dream. France needs to beat Netherlands, but also needs Netherlands. What's the you must be truly desperate? I'll make that post later. But it's the you must be it's Zhao's face. You must be truly desperate. If France wins, I'm posting that because France will rely on Admiral Zhao. Oriko's hope will have to lie in the skill of his greatest enemy, Admiral Zhao, to beat Switzerland. Of course, if Switzerland wins, none of these situations matter, right? Same with if Netherlands beats Switzerland and France, then. But hey. Anyways,